Today we'll be discussing about the geopolitical interferences in Asian, African, and some of the European countries. As we recently had surfaced a report about the Donald Lu, the Foreign Secretary over here in United States of America, and the Pakistani ambassador, like how the U.S. wanted Imran Khan's government to be toppled, to be removed. Otherwise, they'll be blocking lots of funds. So, Pakistani government has brought non-confidence motions against him. So now, if this scenario, which is coming more to the public, even though in public domain they always deny any interferences, let's discuss about the India's uh, geopolitical scenario, like how it has been influenced. So the one things to trace is always gives a loss of dimension to visualize like how much influence goes on is money trail. Um, if we just start looking at the how much money was officially curtailed uh, from international agency coming to India, like between 2019, 2016 to 19, the Home Ministry of India had reported that NGO had received 58,000 crore, which is equivalent to the 7 billion plus. And with the crackdown by the Home Ministry, they have reduced those source of funding to almost like 87%. And you know who are the bad actors in those, like those what's it called, the Amnesty International and some other NGOs. So they just, in the name of the human rights, they don't want to comply any other countries' rules and regulations while they do in the Western countries. So when the government had asked to publish the report, like where you get the funds from and how you spend those money, they said that they don't want to comply those rules because they are the superior of everything. But anyway, so US aid funding also, in India they had done around 119 to 166 millions annually. And the the one of the was public controversy, like in 2025 they have spent about 21 million grants to influence voters, while they denied this thing. So they said no, this one was for the Bangladesh, not for India. But again, right over there itself it shows like if you're influencing any country, then you're violating the fabric of so-called democracy, and you are the one who try to uh, make a loud noise about the democracy, and officially you are trying to demolish that itself. Anyway, so other routes which the money comes from is from the hawalas, like although the government of India has strictly blocks many traditional banking channel uh, for blacklisted groups, the growing portion of unmonitored fund utilizing clandestine hawala networks and cryptocurrency wallet to bypass the state government of India. um, and The Indian intelligence agencies, they have cracked down many of them, but still, I mean, there's a significant amount of money coming through those channel. So if we look for where these funds goes, so historically concentrated in some states with a specific geopolitical vulnerability or active industrial center. So the states like Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Andhra, the primary funding goes to missionary organizations and environmental NGO, and their intention is funding local community resistance against mega infrastructure, ports, and nuclear energy facilities. We'll later discuss like what happens through that, because they try to block the progress into those region by the all the domestic companies or by the government, so that the dependency will be on the foreign uh, business or foreign countries. Other areas are like travel rich and resource rich belts, Jharkhand, Orissa, Chhattisgarh. So the funding where these funding goes is like in civil right groups. what they do is mobilize local community against coal mining, steel plants, and heavy industrial land acquisitions, which normally government or the companies they try to do for development into those areas. So, and usually those contracts goes to the Indian businessman or the government, which the foreign nationals doesn't like to do those things. Plus, more the tribals will be not developed or not educated that much. They will be more into control into this foreign hands. Border conflict regions like Jammu, Kashmir, northeastern India, the money comes through the Hawala network and crypto routings. And those funds goes to the local subversion, radicalization, or separatist narrative through underground channels. Urban policy hubs like Delhi and Mumbai, the Western think tanks and legal NGO, they bring all this money to those urban areas. And who are the ones, the actors who get this money off? Like influencing domestic legal policy, funding litigation against development projects, and shaping media narratives. Um, so normally that's these all these funds, the government of India views not just the misuse of the foreign funds and or as a political threat, but as a direct challenges to national security and the growth, like economic growth. Normally they have evaluated that these kind of funds stops the uh, the GDP growth, and effectively it's almost like 2 to 3% of GDP growth. It slows down. It stalls mega projects. Like foreign backed groups are routinely accusing of organization highly coordinated local protests to delay vital national projects, including special investment regions, DMIC industrial corridor, and public utility projects. So the legislative crackdown they started doing to counter this, government of India has used Foreign Contribution Regulation Act (FCRA) since 2014. MHA has cancelled or suspended licenses over 20,000 NGOs, including major global like Oxfam, Amnesty International, and Greenpeace, for falling to account for their money trails or for diverting funds into unauthorized political actions. So the main thing is like what these agencies or foreign national they try to achieve through this money or through this donations of money. Normally they try to get a geopolitical leverage for certain foreign actors. A minor financial investment in local activist groups can successfully freezes multi-billion dollar domestic projects in India. So ensuring that the Indian government or India remains dependent on the foreign energy or technology imports, so that way, so they will still have influence over these kind of countries. The and they try to build ideological and narrative controls. Funding in these funding is used to build a network of sympathetic academics, journalists, and non-profits, which we might have seen many times into the protests, like universities like JNU or in Yadapur University or many part of that one. In fact, I have seen even in the top elite US uh, universities also, like kids they goes there for a couple years only, but later on if you see their narratives, they are being pitched like what country, how they does, why they do, more like a socialist narrative. And I believe they get a email or think tank like that. So that's why they, I mean, they are pretty busy in their work, but if you start discussing with them, those things comes out from their mouth. So the return for the donor is the ability to project specific domestic narratives about India onto the global stage, allowing foreign government to apply domestic pressure regarding human rights and trade compliances. So many times you hear it in the news, like some country, or especially Western countries, they accuse the other countries about the domestic violations or human rights. But normally, if you normally they don't give you the chance to point it back. But those are basically to demoralize those countries and put some pressure in through the public, and that way government will be compelled to listen to these foreign national and their interest, although in the name of humanity, in the name of socialization, so public get fooled about those things. So this was a little bit things put together, like how all these things are organized, and the main factor in that is money. So if you trace the money trail, and this is the one which is already listed, the money trail, but there are so many other channels the money goes over there, and which we see the uh, significance in the election results, or some blocking of the government, or even this controversial word about, like, even though so many news has come up, but still time to time we hear about the Adani, because some of the Indian companies are doing really well, which is the big companies, they don't like to see those changes. Okay, if you like this one, just comment and like my videos, so that way we'll be keep doing more homework to bring many things in future.